Hi there, it's Lee here. I hope you're doing well and thank you for watching the video. So today I want to talk about why business is important, why your business in particular is important. So a bit of context here. What I'm talking about is why we become business owners ultimately. Now, I offer a coaching service. It's a coaching, mentoring, guidance program, whatever you want to call it. And one of the key pillars of this is business and strategy. Now, the reason why I have that as one of my pillars is because that's partly who I work with. I aim to work with business owners in particular, but also because being in a business, owning a business, being high up in a business, even if it's not yours, I think it's really key to being successful in life, but also to being fulfilled and living how we want to live. Because at the end of the day, we do live in a society, in a world where it's financially governed. Without having our currencies, we're not able to purchase products that we want, we're able to buy houses that we want to live in, and the luxuries that we would want in our lives. And whilst people will say money isn't the thing that makes you happy, that is true, but often to acquire the things that will make us happy, or to be able to get access to the things and the activities and the events that will make us happy, we need to be able to fund those, and that's where the money comes in. What we tend to do, though, is one of two things. Either we will go into a job and work for someone else as an employee, or we will start our own business. Either scenario is perfectly fine, and I'm not going to judge anyone who does either. But what I'm focusing on here is business, and it's why we start our own businesses. Now, a lot of the conversations I do have with people is, why did you get into business? What's your reason behind it? And I kind of covered that in my last video around your whole purpose for what you want to do with your life and why you're doing what you're doing. And business is a part of this. So as one of my key pillars that I focus on with people, business is such an important part to understand how to do that, yes, but also why you're doing it. And the reason why I don't just focus on business solely is because it's only a small part of our lives. And quite frankly, you're going to know your business better than I ever will in the majority of circumstances. And I don't need to know how to run your business. I know how to run a business to be able to help you and guide you and assist you as you may need. But the crux of how you run your business, what you do day to day, that is up to you. And that is something that you will inevitably know better than I do. So it isn't a big focus of mine, but it is something that I do heartily believe that we should all investigate as an option, because we do have our own talents, our unique abilities and skills, and the things that we can offer this world. And the business is a way of getting those across to benefit those around us. So when I talk to people and I ask them, why did you get into business? I get a variety of answers. Some are what I would consider really good, and some are maybe not so good. The examples of those that I'm going to talk about at the moment, which are not necessarily the ideal ones, are when people talk to me about how they get into business because they don't want to work for somebody else, they want to work for themselves, or they just want to earn a load of money and they think that a business is the way to do that. Now, neither of those answers is particularly bad, and they're not wrong. It's just that they're not necessarily good reasons to be getting into a business, because if you're moving away from something, you're using pain as your motivation. As I mentioned in the last video, that's great in the sense of you're moving away from something that gives you drive and the initial kick and momentum that you need to get going, but it's not the thing that keeps you going. That's why you need your bigger purpose and your biggest why. And if your sole motivation is that you don't want to work for someone else, well, what do you do when you're not working for them and you do have your own business? Or if your motivation is financial and you're saying that I need to earn a certain amount, I want a 6-figure, 7-figure business. Great, but what are you going to do when you earn that? And this is a key part of what I talk to people about. It's understanding why you're doing it, yes, but what you're going to do with it once you have achieved what you're setting out to achieve, but also then what you're going to do along the way so that you still are happy and fulfilled throughout that journey, throughout that quest that you're going on. But coming back to business, those couple of reasons that I listed there, I think are good reasons to not to move away from employment, but to try and start your own business, to fuel your own life. I mean, when it comes down to it, what is a business? It's a vehicle for us to generate finance for ourselves, to provide comfort, luxury, necessity, whatever level you're at. And it's something that should work for you, not something that you work for. And again, this is something that I cover off with people that I talk to, because what will often happen, and what I've unfortunately found, is when people start out in employment. So I'll give you myself as an example and how the similarities are there. I used to work in corporate. I was in IT doing a lot of different things in technology, and a lot of people may know me for that, and that's great. And I still do some of that. It's not a problem. But I had a varying story, shall we say. So a very brief history of what I did is that I started in IT. It was against my parents' wishes at the time. They thought I was never going to really be too successful in IT. Well, to a degree, I showed them, but it was something I was always passionate about and I enjoyed. So I really wanted to pursue it. And it took me a couple of years to realize that. But once I did, I started at the lowest of the low because I had no experience, no real qualifications, and I just started out doing something. And very quickly, I rose through the varying levels that you can go through, from junior developers to senior to management. But that was all in employment. And again, this is not to suggest that the employer I had wasn't particularly good, because they treated me exceptionally well. And I'm very thankful for them giving me my first opportunities and for the support and encouragement that they gave me as well. They obviously saw something in me, and I'll forever be grateful for that. It's such a brilliant thing to have happened. But what I very quickly realized is that because of how good I was at the work I was doing, I was becoming the one that was depended on for pretty much everything. So the context around this is we had a call out system, and I found that I was the one that was getting called out all the time, even when it wasn't myself on that rota. It was either the managers or the directors were calling me because they knew I would fix the problem and fix it quickly when problems occurred, or it was the other members of staff who were calling me for assistance because they weren't sure what to do. And in either scenario, I was relatively happy, because on one hand, it was good to get the recognition of what I was doing, but it was also good to be helping people, which is a big driver of mine. But the issue that I found was that I was working for an employer, great, they were paying me well, I'm not bemoaning that, and I was getting paid for being on call, but I wasn't getting paid for all these additional things I was doing above and beyond what I considered the call of duty. So I decided to move away from that. Now, I then moved into contracting, which becomes more of a self-employed type basis. So you're in control of what you're doing. It's up to you to generate your income and so on and so forth. And that's great. But the same thing happened. So I did really well through my contracting, and I still will offer my contracting services to clients where they need them. But it very much became, I was earning a lot of money, and that was great. And that was my drive at the time, but it left me unfulfilled. I didn't really know why I was doing it, and I wasn't spending my money. I wasn't doing anything with it. And then I very quickly realized that, hang on a minute, whilst I can then charge for my services as and when I provide them, so if I work all hours of the day, then I can get remunerated for that, that's great. But I'm still building someone else's business here. I'm still doing something really amazing with the programs that I was writing, the software I was coding, the people I was developing, the teams I was leading. These were all really great things for me to be doing. And I'm not suggesting no one should do this, because absolutely it needs to be done. But I realized very quickly that I was doing that in someone else's business and building it for them. And that wasn't ultimately benefiting myself, and not what I wanted to spend my life doing. I thought, well, why can't I build my own businesses? And that's where I moved into business on my own. And that, I believe, is a good journey for some people to go on. But it's that thing of, why are you getting into it? I knew from the start that getting into business for myself was, yes, moving away from working from another employer, from someone else, and generating them their long-term wealth and legacy. But it was also about being able to do what I wanted to do and give me the freedom to do that. And that's a bigger driver for me, because I really want to help people. That is my biggest driver. I want to help as many people around the world as I possibly can, in as many ways as I can, which thankfully I do have a lot of skills I can offer, which is fantastic. And it's great to be able to do that. But I also want to be able to do that in my own way. And if you're working with an employer, for all that, that's a fantastic thing to do. And for all that will suit certain people, that's great. But it was quite restrictive to someone like me. I wasn't able to have the freedom to do what I wanted to do outside of my day-to-day work, and I was confined to working set hours in the day, set routines in the day, and so on and so forth. So for me, business liberated me away from that. And this is what I see business being. Now, you may or may not agree with me on this, but very much I see business as being that vehicle, as I've already mentioned, that fuels the rest of our lives. Now, it doesn't have to be business. I'm talking a lot about it because this is something that I'm keen about and I do focus on. But you could be doing that through an employer. You could be doing that in your employment. However, you need to be able to structure your life in such a way that you are getting the most out of that employment, yes, but also being able to fuel the rest of your life outside of that, without your employment being the be-all and end-all of your life. And then it's the same in business. So this is me circling back to how I was talking at the beginning here, which is when I speak to a lot of business owners who are either just getting started or a few years in, they're all consumed by their business. And that's not a good way to build a long-lasting business, really, because it's dependent on you. But it's also not that fulfilling. Now, you may argue that you do enjoy your business and your line of work that you've chosen to go in, and that's fantastic. And, all kudos to you for doing so and choosing to go down that path. That's amazing. But that business is wholly dependent on you. And if we then are doing something that we're wholly relied upon to do, and it's consuming all our energy every day of the week, and that's not just Monday to Friday, that's Monday through Sunday, because the reality of being a business owner is that you don't really stop. You are working 7 days a week, 365 a year, until you figure out a better way of doing it. And what that means then is that passion that drove you to get into business, that drove you to really provide something, to really be successful and to do something good, and to supply these services and create these products and all the great things that come with being a business owner, they go by the wayside because you lose your passion, because you just get bogged down in, I'm having to do this all the time, I'm fed up of this, I'm fed up of that, it's stressing me out, and so on and so forth. And the biggest one I ever hear, and what I again say that I specialize in, is that people lose time. They say that I've got no time in the day to do what I need to do, I can't get through all my tasks, I'm struggling to do this, I can't grow, I can't scale, I've got no time for my family, I don't do anything outside of the business, I'm just all consumed by it. And frankly, that's not a healthy attitude and not a healthy way to live. And it's certainly not going to give you a fulfilled life, unless that is what you want from your life and that is your why, then great. But the reality is, for the majority of people, that is not the case. So what then is business? Well, business is, again, that vehicle that will fuel the rest of your life, as is a high-end career. You need to get into that position that you have this vehicle that is semi-autonomous to a degree, whether that's because you have systems in place that run it for you or that do the day-to-day work for you, or you have staff members or partners that can do similar, and you can focus on where your talents and your passions lie, but also that give you the time back that you need to live a happy and successful life. So to me, this is where success and fulfillment comes from. Fulfillment is obviously that element of you need to be happy, you need to be enjoying what you're doing, you need to feel satisfaction around what you're doing day to day. So if you're running a business or you own multiple businesses, but you like and enjoy the elements of every single one of them, that's fantastic. You're going to be fulfilled. But business isn't everything. There's also the bits outside of that. There's going off and having hobbies, playing sports, health and fitness, dining out, spending time with friends, going out drinking, whatever it is that you really enjoy that's not just business. But then the other side of business is how you can leverage and outsource it, and how you can then make sure that you're not integral to that business, so that you can enjoy the benefits of your labors of setting the business up, and you're able to do that in such a cost efficient way that you can enjoy the rest of your life. And by cost efficient, I don't mean financially, I mean time, because time is our most valuable resource. So that's the fulfillment side of it. But the success bit of it also is tied heavily to that, because if you are in a business on your own and it's just you and you have no plans for scale and growth, which do not involve just you, then frankly, you're not going to scale and grow and evolve, because everything will be limited by you, by your capabilities and by your time. So this is where we need plans on how we outsource, how we leverage systems, leverage other people, have partners that can assist us, have maybe business partners, whatever it may be. But it also then ties into that success element, like I mentioned, because if you want to be successful, and your definition of success in a business is to grow that business to a certain financial level, staff membership level, whatever it may be, if you're focused on doing that solely on your own, then you will end up stuck and you will get to the limits of your own capability and not know where to go and not be able to go anywhere else. And that stops you being successful. So to be successful in business, you need to have that network around you, whether it's a support network, coaches, mentors, staff that you can rely on, decent management, it doesn't matter. As long as you have something in place, that will allow you to be successful. So that allows you to get that success and fulfillment element that I really focus on with my programs with people. But this then circles back to what business is. So I'm going to wrap up very shortly with this, because I know I've been talking a while on it, but I just want to give an overview as to how I view business and how I see it. So the way that my program works is that I focus on 4 separate pillars. We covered one last time around, which was purpose and mindset, understanding why you're doing what you're doing, what really drives you, what you want to contribute back to the world and what you want to get out of life. Another one then is business, which we're covering today. Outside of that, you have your health and fitness and your wealth and financial management mindset. And this is something that I'll cover later. But all of those things combined, I truly believe if you get a decent balance between all of those, then you will live successfully and happily and fulfilled for your entire life. And it's not a matter of doing it then, it's a matter of doing it now. But this is why I want to do this video on business and why your business is important. it's not just that it's important to you. There is that social element and the communal element of what your business is providing to other people, the products and services that you're delivering. But the mindset around why your business is important, and that it's not just about not working for someone else or just working to get to a certain financial target that you may or may not reach, but even should you reach, what, not knowing what you're going to do with that. And it's understanding then that business isn't something that should take over your entire life. Business is part of a healthy, balanced life. And I advocate being in business. Again, nothing against those that want to work for an employer. Being a business owner is not for everyone because it can be demanding, it can be stressful, and it's frankly hard work a lot of the time. But you have to do what you're doing and enjoy what you're doing. Otherwise, you will never make it work. And like I said, that doesn't have to be just business. That can be in employment with someone. That's, not to demean anyone who wants to be an employee. It works fine. It's really lucrative for certain people, and you can make the most of it. And if that's what you want to do and not have the stress and worry of being a business owner, then great. But in my opinion, having that business there, even if it's just a side hustle, a bit of a side business that you set up outside of your normal day-to-day employment that allows you to maybe go part-time, having a business there that you can set up and create and get it to that point that it's fairly self-sufficient because of systems, automation, other people in it, that allows you to free up your time and allows you to live much more happily and much more fulfilled. So it's a key part of it, because at the end of the day, we all need an income stream. And for me, having businesses is that income stream. So I hope that's been helpful. I'm going to wrap it up there, so I'll stop waffling now. I'll be back on next time round, and I'll be talking about health and fitness, which is another big passion of mine and another one of those key focuses of mine. But if you have any questions or commentary around this, if there's anything you would like to challenge or any feedback you've got for me, please let me know, because I'm always open to it. We'll always discuss it. And if there's anything you want to add to it or contribute, then by all means do so, because this is all about getting that message out there and allowing people to have that boost in their own lives. And my opinions are my opinions. I don't know everything. I never will claim to know everything, and everyone has different experiences and different skills and values that they can add. So hopefully that's been of use. I'm going to wrap it up there, and thank you again for paying me attention for this amount of time.